For me, one of the great pleasures of going to the movies in those far-off days before television was seeing the trailers, the previews of coming attractions, the plug for the picture coming next week, which always looked as if it might be better than the one playing this week. They still make trailers, but for me they lack the flair of the ones made in Hollywood's golden age, when the studios all had departments which specialized in the crafting of these artful come-ons. They were, after all, commercials, but unlike most commercials, they were irresistible. Who, for example, in 1939, could resist the invitation to see Wuthering Heights, starring the exotically beautiful Merle Oberon and handsome young Laurence Olivier? With merchandise like that, Hollywood had us in the palms of its hands.
Don't you see what he's been doing? He's been using you to be near me, to smile at me behind your back, to try to rouse something in my heart that's dead. You can't. Heathcliff's not a man, but something dark and horrible to live with.
Do you imagine, Catherine, that I don't know why you're acting so? Because you love him.
Oh, Heathcliff, you must not do this villainous thing. She hasn't harmed you.
You have.
Then punish me.
I'm going to. When I take her in my arms, when I kiss her, when I promise her life and happiness.
Oh, Heathcliff, if there's anything human left in you, don't do this. Oh, Heathcliff, why won't you let me come near you? You're not black and horrible as they all think. You're full of pain. I can make you happy. Let me try. You won't regret it. I'll be your slave. I can bring life back to you, new and fresh.
All you have to do is to shoot.
They'll thank me for it. The whole world will say I did right in ridding it of a rotten gypsy beggar.
Yes, they'll say that. Shoot and you'll be master here again. The whole county will resound with your courage, Hindley. Go on! Shoot, you puling chicken of a man with not enough blood in your veins to keep your hands steady.
Wuthering Heights. Hollywood used to do well by these perfume bits of costumed romance, especially if they were set in the Old South, Gone with the Wind being the cream of that particular crop. When that picture was being cast, the producer, David O. Selznick, was besieged with suggestions as to who should play Scarlett O'Hara and Rhett Butler. Almost everybody wanted Clark Gable for Rhett Butler. The actress who received the most suggestions for Scarlett was Bette Davis. And when she was turned down by Selznick, Warner Brothers came up with their own version of Gone with the Wind for Betty.
You're part of it, Pris. And it's part of you. Like I am. You can't get away from us, Pris. We're both in your blood.
Julie, please.
And we'll never let you go.
To play is to fight.
But you can't fight Mary.
Marriage, is it? To that washed-out little Yankee. Price is mine. Evidently, you've made up your mind.
No, Julie, you've made up my mind.
Well, then, goodbye, Price.
When I was a wee lad, half a century ago, the only kind of movies I wanted to see were westerns. I was an early captive of Hollywood's version of the Wild West. To me, the actor who best personified the classic Westerner was Gary Cooper. In 1937, that flamboyant producer-director Cecil B. DeMille starred Cooper as the legendary lawman Wild Bill Hickok in The Plainsman, pairing him with beautiful Jean Arthur in the role of Calamity Jane, a lady who actually looked more like Charles Bronson. In telling its stories of the West, Hollywood never let anything like historical accuracy stand in the way.
Yes, Calamity. I do. I love you. You know what this is?
Skirt.
Yes.
I'm not armed, Mr. Hickok. I'm not armed.
I'll give you 3 minutes to fix that. I'll be waiting outside.
I'm just leaving town.
You're not leaving town unless dead men can walk. The choice is his, ma'am.
Oh, Will, I was afraid of it. You can't leave me. You can't.
You've never seen the Indian tribes at war, ma'am. You've never seen men killed and mutilated and bodies of women burned and babies dragged from their mother's arms and dashed against their...
That's enough, Bill.
Busby Berkeley was the most bizarre of all the film choreographers. He was the man who devised those weird and wonderful formations of girls in fantastic geometric patterns with a lot of overhead photography. Two of his best pictures, Footlight Parade and The Gold Diggers of 1935, were reissued as a double bill in 1972. The trailer was an artful little mock documentary with tongue-in-cheek narration pointing up the fact that the Berkeley pictures were the escapist entertainment of the years of the Great Depression, which they were.
Right in the face of a depression, they sprang to their feet faster than you could say, Busby Berkeley. You can't hold a nation down. When things got tougher, they just danced harder. Everybody danced. Superstars of the silver screen were dancing their little hearts out to bring a bit of cheer to a despairing people. The people loved it. It brought new meaning into their lives. They were the first motion pictures to deal honestly with man's search for identity, set to music. They found they could laugh once again. And the more the people laughed, the more they danced. There's a lesson to be learned from all that, but it escapes me at the moment. But in these troubled times, times, the management of this theater wishes to lift your spirits by bringing back once again those Busby Berkeley beauts. Two together, Gold Diggers of 1935 and Footlight Parade. See the motion pictures that lifted a nation out of despair, and see why they don't make movies like they used to.
The lingering image of Errol Flynn is that of the dashing cavalier, Hollywood's foremost swashbuckler. Unfortunately, he swashbuckled so much in his private life that he burned himself out at the age of 50. The young Tasmanian adventurer turned up in Hollywood in 1935, became an overnight star when he played Captain Blood, which typecast him as a hero with a sword in one hand and a beautiful girl in the other. After a while, he grew tired of that image and tried to get away from it, but he never could. That's the price of fame in the movies. Flynn was at his peak in the early 40s, making pictures like The Seahawk and They Died with Their Boots On, saving England in the one film and winning the American West in the other. Errol was quite a lad.
Unfurling the glorious saga of the boldest buccaneer the world has ever known, Warner Brothers bring you the flaming story of the Seahawk, a galley slave who became the chieftain of the most dangerous band of men ever to fight under the flag of the Skull and Crossbones, riding the danger-swept waters of the Spanish Main, fighting through enemy ambushes in the swamp-infested jungles of Panama and Cartagena, attacking the fighting ships of a great armada with cutlass and saber. Errol Flynn as the Seahawk, leading his men to four corners of the earth, swooping down on the golden cargoes of mighty galleons like a savage bird of prey.
Does the man have a right to know what he's signing up for, Captain? Not on board this ship, he hasn't. My men follow without question.
I believe in you. And whatever you do must be right. Please let me help you.
Over the side, men! Boarders away! Michigan, charge!
The greatest cavalry regiment the world has ever known, thundering to battle to the rousing tempo of their own fighting song, writing history with the flashing strokes of their sabers. Men who'd rather die with their boots on than see their flag crumpled in defeat. All under the flaming command of the man they'd follow straight to Hades, General George Custer. From amazing triumphs on Civil War battlefields to lightning attacks against the warring Indian tribes of Dakota's Black Hills, it's Errol Flynn in his greatest role, reliving the glorious adventures of America's Golden Cavalier, fighting side by side with the most colorful heroes ever to come out of West Point. General Sheridan, Ulysses S. Grant, Lee, General Winfield Scott, and in the picture you'll always remember her for, lovely Olivia de Havilland.
I said, will you marry me when I'm a general?
Oh, Lieutenant.
Oh, it's easy to become a general. Then that old crab, that nice old father of yours will be proud of me.
Yes, General.
You know, if I was you, Mr. Sharp, I'd vamoose. Custer's liable to go loco about this.
I'm not getting out. We opened by authority of the commissioner. The drinks were free to the men in honor of his visit. I want my regiment back, Grant.
Maybe you'll tell me why I should give it to you.
I'll tell you why. Because you know how it is when a man's broken. when he's left behind and his regiment's marching out to fight. You know how he feels, Grant, because you had a taste of it yourself.
The pages of Hollywood history are full of sad stories. It took Errol Flynn 50 years to exhaust himself. It took Judy Garland 47. What a sad ending that was for someone who had brought so much joy to the world. What a sparkling girl she was in 1936 when she turned up in Hollywood at the age of 14 with that glorious singing voice. Judy appeared in only 35 films, and if I were forced to choose just one, I think it would be Meet Me in St. Louis.
Dear Mr. Gable, I am writing this to you. Where over the rainbow, way up high, sweet just like chocolate candy, or like the honey from a bee. Meet the beat of my heart. Meet the reason I beam so. They call her Minnie from Trinidad. They all love Minnie from Trinidad. Clang, clang, clang went the trolley. Ding, ding, ding went the bell. Zing, zing, zing went my heartstrings. From the moment I saw him, I fell.
Meet Me in St. Louis is the tender, romantic story of the most popular young beauty of the early 1900s, of her crush on the boy next door, of her lovable, yet at times humorous family. Adapted from the novel written by Sally Benson, Meet Me in St. Louis brings you all the warmth and happiness of those gay, carefree days not so long ago.
This has been a great evening. Really, it has. I'll never forget it.
Do you mean
Esther.
that?
Yes, I do. And you know something else?
What?
You've got a mighty strong grip for a girl.
If you like me like I like you, and we like both the same. I like to say, yes, every day. I like to change your name. Oh, Esther does wonders for your figure. I feel like the ossified woman in the slideshow. You look grand, simply elegant. We will dance a hoochie coochie. You will be my tootsie wootsy. If you will meet me in St. Louis, meet me at the fair.
What's the most unusual trailer ever made? Well, my vote goes to the one Alfred Hitchcock did in 1960 for his great thriller Psycho. By that time, Hitchcock had become almost as much a public figure as the actors he used. In fact, he was the only director whose name could be used to sell a film, as the producers of this trailer well knew.
Here we have a quiet little motel, tucked away off the main highway, and as you see, perfectly harmless looking, when in fact, it has now become known as the scene of the crime. This motel also has, as an adjunct, an old house, which is, if I may say so, a little more sinister looking, less innocent than the motel itself. And in this house, the most dire, horrible events took place. I think we can go inside because the place is up for sale, although I don't know who's going to buy it now. In that window on the second floor, the single one in front, that's where the woman was first seen. Let's go inside.
I've been told there are people who haven't taken a shower since 1960, thanks to Alfred Hitchcock. There are names in Hollywood history that need only a mere mention in order to tell the story. For example, Fred Astaire. What more can be said about this one-of-a-kind gentleman dancer? A film of his I particularly like is the 1950 Three Little Words, in which he played songwriter Bert Kalmar. In making the trailer, MGM capitalized upon the fact that Fred had just received a special Oscar for his contributions to the art of musical film. Nobody could argue with that award.
This is Hollywood. Hollywood in its brightest hour. The most important occasion of the year. It's Academy Award night. There was a very special award this year. It went to Fred Astaire, and a very special person was there to present it, Miss Ginger Rogers.
To Fred Astaire for the artistry that has brought unique delight to picture audiences and has raised the standards of all musical pictures.
Fred was away in New York on that night of nights, and he asked if I would accept this award for him. But Fred is back in Hollywood now. As a matter of fact, he's waiting right off there in the wings for his cue to come out here so that I can give it to him. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Fred Astaire. Oh, wait a minute, Fred, not so fast. You know, you're supposed to make a little acceptance speech when you get one of these.
Oh.
Tell me, Fred, how did you feel when you heard that you had won this award?
How did I feel? I don't know, George. I really don't know how I felt.
Well, what did you say?
Oh, I don't know. I know one thing, though. I was mighty proud and happy to get it.
Well, that's good enough for me. Mr. Astaire, your Oscar.
Thanks, George.
And you have never seen a better example of Fred Astaire's great artistry than Three Little Words. Starring with Fred is Red Skelton. And speaking of artistry, Red's wonderful performance is something you must see.
You don't like it, huh?
Sure, sure. It's a nice little tune. You ought to do something with it sometime. You ought to do something with that shirt, too.
Three Little Words is a grand story, a true story, based on the lives and music of two of America's greatest songwriters, Kalmar and Ruby. Fred as Bert Kalmar, Red as Harry Ruby.
The ball took a bad hop.
A bad hop, a bad hop. We go to rehearsal in 2 weeks. What am I going to tell Sam Harris? The ball took a bad hop? You'd be delighted. You and your baseball. Every time I turn around, you're playing baseball. That's for kids. Kid stuff.
Well, I suppose magic's for grown up.
And then we sat down and wrote, "Ooh, sorry now, ooh, sorry now, sorry now."
And then we stood up and wrote,
"So long, ooh, long, how long you going to roam?"
Come on, Papa, hop in the motor car, sit by Mama, and hold your hand. I love you so much, I can't conceal it. All alone Monday, singing the blues. All alone Tuesday, reading the news.
I want to be loved by you. Ba-dum-dee-dum-dee-dum-dee-dum. Boo-boo-ba-doo.
Maybe I'll live a life of regret, and maybe I'll give much more than I get, but nevertheless I'm in love with you.
Three little words. Oh, what I'd give for that wonderful phrase.
Well, I don't know about you, But that's about all the movie nostalgia I can handle in one gulp. This is pretty heady stuff. Until we meet again, this is Tony Thomas in Hollywood.
Agnes Moorehead proves a tough opponent in Yes, Prime Minister.